I have great news, and I have terrible news. Plus, we have Pastor Darrell Scott on. A lot more coming up tonight on I'm Right. Let's talk about something good. I'm back. It's me, live in the chair. Let's talk about something good. Something really, really good. Something to put a smile on your face. Don't worry, I have bad news coming, all right? But let's talk about something good. We're winning right now. The things you believe in, those ideas, what you want for your culture, they have the momentum right now. The communists are in trouble right now. And I'm not just talking about elections. Obviously, that stuff matters. Remember, we covered the Virginia gubernatorial election. We covered the New Jersey having a new state Senate president. It's going well. It's going well. But culturally, you can feel a shift out there, and a necessary shift. Remember, the problem has never been you. You pay attention. You care. You get involved. The problem has always been the person who pretty much agrees with you on everything, but doesn't get involved. And not that I blame them. I mean, politics is a contact sport. It's stressful. It's not for everybody. But truth is, most people aren't like you. Most people want to work, school, kids, come home, eat a slice of pizza, turn on the news for 10 minutes, maybe watch a ball game, go to bed, forget about all that political stuff. That's just how people normally think. We need that person to get involved because he agrees with you. He agrees with me. We need him involved. They're starting to get involved. They're starting to realize just how truly evil communism is. They're starting to realize it's here, and they're starting to wake up and get involved. That's good. We are winning school board races across the country. People are getting involved and running for school board. That's good. They're running for state legislature. Normal people running for Congress out there. That's good. Joe Biden, free fall. Approval rating in free fall. He's not going to pass a single part of his legislative agenda. He's completely nosediving right now. And he's nosediving so bad, Democrats are avoiding him like he has leprosy. That's good. We have all the momentum in the world. It looks like, I don't want to count my chickens, we got a lot of work to do, but it looks like 2022 might be a huge year. And, fingers crossed, if you look at the state of the Democratic Party and their leadership at the top, 2024 might go well too. Remember, I mean, Joe ain't going to be there. You know you can't run Dome at this point. I mean, she's going to run because she's ambitious. She's not going to win. Buttigieg can't get enough of the black vote to even get out of the primary. Hillary? Elizabeth Warren? Okay, so that's good, right? That's all the stuff you can feel good about. You should feel good. There is a chance by 2024, we have everything. Possibly super majorities in the House, Senate, presidency. That's awesome. Good for us. Now let's talk about the system. We just had President Donald Trump for 4 years. And I don't care whether you love Trump or hate him, just stay with me for a second. We just had President Donald Trump for 4 years. The system, the administrative state, the all-powerful bureaucracy in this country, DOJ, FBI, ATF, NSA, CIA, EPA, I mean, you name it. The massive, powerful administrative state kneecapped him every single step of the way. 4 years. Remember, the first 2 years, we had the House and Senate and presidency. Got very little done, little tax cut. Every single part of the agenda Trump and you wanted to go through, kneecapped. He got impeached from within his own government twice over nothing. That's what they did to the last guy. Okay, Donald Trump loses, if you believe that. Donald Trump loses the 2020 election. All right, he's gone. Joe Biden and the communists surrounding Joe Biden have not spent their first year, and they're not going to spend the next 3 years sitting on their hands. They've spent the first year, and they're going to spend the next 3 years jam-packing this administrative state with even more card-carrying communists than were in there before. What I'm saying to you is, yes, there's a good chance we have the House, Senate, presidency in 2024. What are we going to do about the administrative state? I have told you before, I will tell you again, there's nothing more dangerous going on in the United States of America than the FBI. Nothing. Not the debt, not the border, Afghanistan, inflation. I don't care what you point out. Yes, there are other huge issues. Nothing is more truly dangerous than a federal law enforcement arm that has the power to destroy your life, my life, anyone else's life, getting in the camp of the Democratic Party and aiming their sights squarely at you. We've had an FBI for over a year now trying to track down every grandma who wandered into the Capitol on January 6th, labeling them domestic terrorists. We've had an FBI for quite some time now going after concerned parents. Remember, Merrick Garland sent them a memo, and FBI's counter-terrorist heads met to decide what the terrorist threat tag was going to be they were going to assign to concerned parents. So, over the weekend, we had a radical Islamist go into a synagogue in Texas and take a bunch of hostages. By the grace of God, all the hostages lived. And by the way, the guy's demands were, of course, he was Pakistani, he wasn't even American by birth, snuck his way into the country on a tourist visa, trying to get some other radical terrorist released from prison, has all kinds of anti-Semitic background. The FBI, they had to make a statement about it. This was the FBI's statement.
We do believe from our engagement with this subject that he was singularly focused on one issue, and it was not specifically related to the Jewish community. But we're continuing to work to find motive, and we will continue on that path. In terms of the resolution of the incident, the hostage taker is deceased.
I'm sorry? We're going to work to find motive? Didn't have anything to do with the Jewish community? Nobody believes that. Here's what everyone believes, and no one wants to say it. I'm going to flat out say it now. The Federal Bureau of Investigation now runs cover for Islamic terrorists. The Federal Bureau of Investigation isn't worried about Islamic terrorism in any way or terrorism of any kind. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is now aimed squarely at you. They want that story to go away. They didn't want it. Well, let's not make a thing of it. I mean, who knows his motive? It could be anything. That's weird because they were so anxious to label you a domestic terrorist. Oh, and they got pushback, too. I was on the front page. I'm not even going to go into it. My comments, of course, made the news. And the FBI starts backtracking right away because there's all this backlash. I had all congressmen, senators texting me about the whole thing. FBI comes out. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it actually was terrorism. Okay, so we have to bully people. We have to bully the FBI now into acknowledging the reality we know to be true. Were they too worried about NASCAR? I mean, after all, don't you remember there are nooses hanging from the garages. I mean, they're kind of garage pull strings, but there are nooses. FBI sent a whole team down there, 15 agents. 15 agents sent down to investigate the noose that any idiot could look at and say, oh, that's a garage pull string. 15. Congressional baseball shooting. Don't you remember the Bernie Sanders supporter with Bernie Sanders propaganda all over his social media? Purposely sought out a bunch of GOP congressmen to assassinate them for political purposes, inspired by Bernie Sanders, and nothing. Maybe you do remember Antifa, Black Lives Matter, torching American city after city after city last summer. FBI is not investigating that for domestic terror. Oh, but, the administrative state I just talked about, they are doing other things. I was talking to my friend Tucker Carlson this weekend, sparked something in my mind. We've kind of forgotten about maybe the most frightening story this year. The NSA spied on Tucker Carlson and released his private information to the news. You realize that happened, right? Remember, Tucker went on his show. He said, hey, got a whistleblower at the NSA, got in touch with me, told me the NSA is spying on me, told me the contents of my private emails and texts. The NSA then knows they can't release that publicly, so they leak the information to a media outlet to destroy them. How do your texts look? How's that? How's those memes you share look? How are your emails? Again, these people have the power to destroy your life, and they're now aimed at you. I know this is a lot of bad news, I know. But the truth is, we have to do something about this administrative state. Here's Joe Biden. What do you think he's going to spend the next 3 years doing with the administrative state?
I don't think there is sufficient information to know about why he targeted that synagogue, why he insisted on the release of someone who's been in prison for over 10 years, why he was engaged, why he was using anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli comments. We just don't have enough facts.
There just aren't enough facts. I don't know why the radical Islamic terrorist with his radical Islamic terrorist friends walked into a synagogue, started ripping on those Jews. Who knows why he did it? I don't know. Could be any reason, right? That's President of the United States of America, who had absolutely no problem calling Kyle Rittenhouse a white supremacist, though. None whatsoever. Without even a slight bit of evidence that Kyle Rittenhouse has a racist bone in his body, President of the United States immediately. These dirty white supremacists! That's also the same president who had no issue whatsoever labeling anyone who had anything to do with January 6th as a domestic terrorist.
They weren't protesters. Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists. It's that basic, it's that simple. No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol.
I always did find that interesting as he calls the Capitol Police and D.C. Police a bunch of racists. And that's what he said. But setting that aside, again, we have a hostage taker dead, fresh from a hostage situation. The President of the United States of America doesn't stop and consider facts. He doesn't stop and consider the information he's putting out there. He doesn't do any of these things. The President of the United States of America sits down with his team before he gives a statement, and there's not a thought or a care in the world to anything that's going on in the news or danger or anything. Everything is politics all the time. Hey, what should our messaging be? Guys, what should we say? Guns! Guns, let's make it about guns.
The idea of background checks are critical, but you can't stop something like this if someone is on the street buying something from somebody else on the street. Except that there's so many guns that have been sold of late. It's just ridiculous. And it's because of the failure of us to focus as hard as we should and as consistent as we should on gun purchases, gun sales, ghost guns, and a whole range of things that I'm trying to do.
It's one thing that Joe Biden thinks like that. It's another thing entirely. The ATF, NSA, FBI, DOJ, IRS, they think like that now too. So again, back to what I was saying in the beginning, feel good, feel happy. But you need to put your elected Republicans, you need to put their feet to the fire on what they're going to do about the administrative state. I know you want low taxes. So do I. I know you want a secure border, fewer abortions. I know you care about these things. I care about these things too. It doesn't matter how many elections we win unless the administrative state is completely reformed, disbanded, brought to its knees, whatever word you want to put on it, unless there are massive changes to the card-carrying Democrats who can destroy your life with the snap of their fingers, then nothing else matters. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I'm right. Something else should make you uncomfortable. We're sending our Olympic athletes, the world is sending its athletes to China. Oh, we're going to talk to Pastor Darrell Scott about that here in just a little bit. But first, let's talk about Eden Pure. Let's talk about the world's greatest air purifier. I mean, it is, look, I've had them my whole life, the air purifiers, because I need them because my eyes get so itchy with allergies. But I've always had the big towers, you know what I mean? The ones, you probably have one in your house, makes a bunch of noise. I hate the daggone thing, takes up space. I had a buddy tell me about Eden Pure. It's just this little box. It's just this little black box. It goes right in the outlet in the wall. Doesn't make hardly a sound. the air, it cleans it. You can smell the difference in an hour or two. Once you plug it in, you'll smell the difference in the air. And I don't have to take allergy medication anymore. I own 3 of these things. You can too. They have a deal for my viewers right now. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use the code Jesse3. That's Jesse and the number 3. And you get 3 of them for under $200. That's over $200 in savings. EdenPureDeals.com, code Jesse and the number 3. We'll be back. I want you to imagine something. I want you to imagine you have an enemy. Maybe you do, but I want you to imagine you have an enemy. Let's say he lives right across the street from you. He's your neighbor across the street from your house. He not only despises you, he has voiced several times. He says it on a loudspeaker out in front of your home. He wants to take you down a notch. He wants to make sure he defeats you. Any chance he throws stumbling blocks in front of you. He really is quite open about the fact you're in a competition with him and he intends to win. That's crazy, right? Now, you got that picture in your head? Now, I want you to imagine purposely going to a movie that guy made. I want you to imagine raising your child who you love for 18 years and then sending him off to a university run by that guy. I want you to imagine sitting down at night after a long day of work, eat some dinner, sit down, turn on the news, and the news station is funded by that guy. Would that make sense to you? Or would you sound like the dumbest person in the history of mankind? That's what this country does with China. They make our movies, they run our universities, they bring us the news, they own our politicians, they buy up our land. We have allowed our arch nemesis to simply come in and take over. And it's a big deal. I mean, Dr. Fauci is a major figure in this country, sadly. He's a major figure in this country. Huge. He has been the face of America's response on COVID-19. Again, that's sad, but he has been. Here he is. There's a World Economic Forum, which is creepy enough. The narrative last year was the Great Reset. The narrative this year is actually called the Great Narrative. Here's Fauci and the communist dictator of China saying the same stuff.
We have disinformation that is entirely destructive to a comprehensive public health endeavor.
Strong confidence and cooperation represent the only right way to defeat the pandemic. Holding each other back or shifting blame would only cause needless delay in response and distract us from the overall objective. History has proved time and again, the confrontation does not solve problems. It only invites catastrophic consequences.
Wow. It is amazing how those similarities come across, huh? And let's talk about this. China, as we speak, has concentration camps. Big ones. You've heard of the Muslim Uyghurs of China? The stories that come out about how those people are being treated, they're being rounded up and imprisoned. They're being used for organ harvesting. What's happening to the women is not something I'll describe for you now because it's a family show, but it's really, really, really bad. It's really, really, really bad. And yet, America's major players, America's leaders, our media executives, our politicians, our billionaires, they can't seem to utter a negative word about the place. Here's the owner of the Golden State Warriors.
Nobody cares about. Nobody cares about what's happening to the Uyghurs. Okay, you bring it up because you really care, and I think that's nice that you care. The rest of us don't care. I'm just telling you a very hard.
Wait, you're saying you personally don't care?
I'm telling you a very hard, ugly truth. Okay, of all the things that I care about, yes, it is below my line. Okay, of all the things that I care about, it is below my line.
They run our sports teams. What nation can survive like this? What nation can survive with the enemy across the street dictating so many things in its life? We can't survive this way. I don't know how we dig our way out. I don't know how we get down to the roots of this, but we had better find a way. You realize we're about to send our athletes over there and a bunch of media people for Beijing? We're about to send our people into this communist country, and they just sent a virus to the world. Honestly, I know this doesn't apply to you personally. I realize that. We deserve what's coming. We do. Apparently, we're too weak and greedy and pathetic to stand up to these people, and we're going to pay for it. All right, we're going to talk to Pastor Darrell Scott about that and other things next. But first, your home title is online. It is not a piece of paper anymore. And I'm saying that to you because I wish someone had said that to me. I always thought the home title was just honestly a piece of paper that's in a bank vault somewhere. They're all online now. They're all on the cloud. And because they're all online, the hackers, the cyber thieves, spend every waking moment trying to hack into them so they can steal your home title, forge your signature on it, and bankrupt you. They'll take out a bunch of loans against your home and they'll bankrupt you. Or you'll be evicted, or both. You can stop it when you go to HomeTitleLock.com. In fact, they have a free offer right now. If you go to HomeTitleLock.com and use the promo code RADIO, you can put in your address and find out if you're already a victim of it. You might be. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code RADIO. We'll be back. Joining me now is my friend Pastor Darrell Scott. He's the author of the book Nothing to Lose, Unlikely Allies in the Struggle for a Better Black America. Pastor, I am glad you have been so vocal. Thank you for being so vocal about the Olympics. I honestly, it blows my mind that China sends a virus out to the world, and the entire world, not just us, the entire world, we're all going to Beijing for the Olympics, just having a big party, just a bunch of friends. How pathetic is the West now, us included?
I mean, we've just totally become the wimps of the world. They disrespect us. They punk us. They send the virus over. We're afraid, at least this administration is afraid to call out its origins. They're trying to do their best to downplay it. And now, especially with the Democrats, their hypocrisy knows no bounds because they talk about oppression and they talk about the denial of human rights. And China is the biggest offender in that area. And we're sending our people over there to sing Kumbaya, hold hands with them, and probably come back with the Optimus Prime variant or something so they can infect some more of us. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And Pastor, I mean, not many people, I've seen some, not many people are even talking about the surveillance our athletes are going to go through. Anybody, athletes, media, everyone we send over there. China spies on people all over the world as it is, let alone people in their own country. There are people going to get spied on the whole time.
Yeah, they're going to get spied on. They're going to get subjected to whatever indignities China wants to subject them to. China just tested a hypersonic missile. I mean, so, their intentions toward the West are very, very clear. And we're being Joe Biden and Kamala and whoever else, they're the three monkeys. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil when it comes to Chinese activity. Probably because, Hunter they have their hands in Hunter's pocket and Joe's pocket, and there's a lot of other chicanery going on. It's sad. It's stupid.
Pastor, how do we let this happen with China having so much control here? It really is. It is astounding. I mean, we've talked about, obviously, the Golden State Warriors owner is big in the news now. But, I mean, China edits our movies. They have huge institutes on our universities. They fund a lot of major media outlets here. How are we so stupid and weak that we allowed our enemy to come just worm its way in?
There was an old rap song way back in the early days of rap. I think it was by Grandmaster Flash, and one of the lyrics was, "It's all about money, ain't a damn thing funny." That's what it is. It's all about money. It ain't a damn thing funny. Yeah.
That is where we are. So, all right, changing course here. I hate Al Sharpton, just full disclosure. I despise the guy. And the feeling's mutual. He despises me too. So here's a little video before we go back to the pastor.
The fact that we all saw them sitting there, clearly they were put there for the optics. There was one guy that went around the whole 2020 race with a Blacks for Trump sign. It seems like now he's gotten more. And they are put there strategically so that he can say the most racist things and not look racist, because they're all just automatically, I mean, who gets a group of people, blacks for Trump, and just happens to sit there and they happen to get within camera view? I mean, no one could be that stupid to think that just happened to be they got the good seats. That is choreographed so he can sell racism and look like he's not a racist.
Look at
Pastor,
that.
did you know Donald Trump was a racist?
No, there are actually two Al Sharptons. There's Fat Al. That's Fat Al we're looking at right here on the screen. And then you got Bobblehead Al. Bobblehead Al is doing most of the talking. Now I got that skinny body. He lost weight everywhere but his head. But I wonder if he was a prop in these pictures that we see where he, Jesse Jackson, James Brown, were they props strategically taking pictures with Donald Trump just to prove he wasn't a racist? It's ridiculous. Al Sharpton needs Donald Trump to remain relevant. Here it is. Joe Biden has been president for a year, and they're still talking about Donald Trump. That just shows you right there that they have nothing else to talk about. They're still asking, what is Donald Trump going to do for black people? Donald Trump is not president. Ask Joe Biden what he's going to do for black people. And so it's ridiculous. Al is fake. That's all I know. Al is fake. I can tell you some things about him, but I'm not going to say it on the air. But Al is phony as a $3 bill.
We'll talk off the air about it. All right, Pastor, I know you're a Trump man. Everyone knows you're a Trump man. Everyone knows you're a Trump man through and through, and I love that about you. There's been a bunch of rumors recently about Trump getting testy with DeSantis getting testy with Trump. And I'm not naive. I understand a lot of this is probably the media trying to gin up another Republican fight where one doesn't yet exist. I personally believe it's going to exist. I believe they are both alpha males. They are both ambitious individuals, and that's not an insult to either of them. And I think the way this world works, they're on a collision course, and it's inevitable. What say you?
I really don't think so. First of all, I think the people around Trump need to shut up. These anonymous sources, and he might think out loud in public in private, he might think out loud regarding someone's chances. And the things that he might say aren't necessarily offensive. They're just simply his opinion. And they're not for public consumption. But you have some people that can't wait to run out of the room and call whoever they know in the media so that they can repeat it. I don't think he and DeSantis are on a collision course. I'll tell you this much, though. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, I wouldn't know who the heck Ron DeSantis was. I wouldn't know the governor of Florida over the governor of Utah, the governor of Vermont, or the governor of Montana, or some other obscure state. Trump made DeSantis, as far as the public is concerned, and DeSantis needs to wait his turn. I believe he can be a good supporter of President Trump. I believe they support one another. And I don't think DeSantis would win in 24 anyway. I think DeSantis would be a good candidate for 28, but I don't think he would be a good candidate for 24 anyway.
Pastor, I'm going to play a little video of Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi. And actually, we're going to talk about something other than what she talks about.
If you really, truly want to honor Dr. King, don't dishonor him by using a congressional custom as an excuse for protecting our democracy.
Okay, all right. Setting aside that idiocy for a moment. She's so old. And I'm honestly, I'm not insulting old people. Joe Biden is old. Nancy Pelosi's old. All the leaders of the Democratic Party are ancient. Chuck Schumer looks like he's 9,000 years old. Nancy Pelosi's almost gone, and so is Joe Biden. And the younger Democrats are completely radical. What's the future of this party look like?
Nancy Pelosi wants to hold on to the power along with Chuck and the rest of that gang. First of all, Nancy, loosen your face up. I can't hear what you say for looking at how you look. I can't get past how you look to hear what you're saying, to try to filter this. Loosen your face up, Nancy. Your facelift was too tight. Your touch-up job was too tight. And lower your eyebrows. First of all, just get that out the way. and quit trying to look young when you know you're old. And you're right, with her and Chuck Schumer and different ones trying to hold on to power as long as they can, they are actually stifling those that are coming behind them. She has no clear-cut successor. She doesn't really have anyone that she's trying to groom. She just wants to hold on to power until they have her. I don't know. Look at, I can't, Jesse, I can't, man. Quit showing this video of her, man. It's messing me up, man. I can't focus.
Pastor Darrell Scott. The eyebrows are up here. It's amazing. Pastor Darrell Scott, thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. God bless you.
Appreciate it. All right. There's something really cool out there you probably haven't heard of before. Paint Your Life is what it's called. Now, my wife and I did one of these. We had a picture of the boys. I mean, a photograph. Any picture you take. Anyone you take on your phone. Anything. I don't care if it's a beach, bridge, family, whatever. Just a picture. Paint Your Life is a website. And if I can operate it, believe me, you can operate it. It's total cake. You upload your picture onto Paint Your Life. And then they have professional artists who will paint your picture in a million different ways. Black and white, color, doesn't matter what it is. Take any picture you love. Like I said, family portrait, doesn't matter what it is. You can have it professionally painted, and they send you the framed up picture, all kinds of different size options to your home. It's freaking awesome. That one we have of the boys is great. We love it. Although grandparents found it and stole it. All right, moving on here. At paintyourlife.com, there's no risk. If you don't love the final painting, your money is refunded. Guaranteed. And right now, as a limited time offer, get 20% off your painting. That's right, 20% off and free shipping. To get this special offer, text the word Jesse to 64,000. That's Jesse to 64,000. Text Jesse to 64,000. Paint Your Life. Celebrate the moments that matter most. Terms apply. Available at paintyourlife.com/terms. Jesse, 64,000. Joining us next is John Andrasik of 5 for Fighting. He got censored once again on Big Tech. Hang on.
Hands. There's blood on our hands. We just want American. And he asking what's happening.
Nice song, right? Seems like a good video to put out. Seems like a concerned citizen. Obviously, it comes from someone super famous, but pretty innocent looking. Joining me now, the man who's singing it, John Andrasik, of course, of 5 for Fighting. John, now that seems like a good song, powerful message. Obviously, voice is on point. I don't have to tell you, but apparently it's dangerous, according to YouTube. What happened, John?
Well, it wasn't dangerous when they posted it. They posted it actually with a age restriction, which I appreciated. There are Taliban atrocity images that children should not see. But Jesse, only when the song started to resonate in the culture did all of a sudden they find these graphic problems with my video. Of course, I quickly searched Taliban atrocities, found a dozen videos with images much worse than mine on YouTube that they were monetizing. And then eventually, after an outcry, they recognized their mistake and they put the video back up.
John, I can't possibly imagine why that would be. Why do you think the censorship for you off of information, as you pointed out, that is readily available in other videos on YouTube?
You know, I don't know, Jesse. I've said from the beginning that this song is a moral message, not a political one, and that if Donald Trump or any Republican got us into this situation, we were abandoning our citizens and allies to terrorists, that I'd write the same song, only the names would change. But I have this weird feeling that if that was the case, perhaps YouTube might not have taken it down. In fact, maybe they would have used their algorithms to promote it around the world. But that's just me. I could be wrong.
You certainly could be. You never know. You never know.
No.
I guess we don't have to live in the hypothetical world. Here's another little bit from before you start singing in that video I want everyone to see.
Secretary of State Blinken declaring this is manifestly not Saigon.
Afghans who helped the West now fearing for their lives.
10,000 civilians, SIV applicants.
Millions more are left behind.
And then this, an act of utter despair. Several fell from the sky.
Afghan mothers passing their children to American soldiers over an airport wall.
It is insane. There are people holding their American passports.
I can't believe the world abandon Afghanistan, our friends are going to get killed. They're going to kill us.
The Taliban now has a list of people who were working for the Americans. This effectively can be turned into a kill list.
It's a suicide attack.
120 people have been injured. 13 U.S. troops are also among the casualties.
We will respond with force and precision at our time, at the place we choose, in the moment of our choosing.
7 innocent children and 3 innocent adults dead.
John, Americans have, I don't want to say they've forgotten. That's not true. They do remember, but it's out of the news cycle. What happened in Afghanistan? As you just pointed out, abandoning our allies, getting 13 of our warriors incinerated outside of that airport, and then drone striking 10 innocent people, including 7 children. This is such an international embarrassment, and that all would be bad enough, John, if it wasn't for this. They've already done their investigation. Of course, they investigated themselves. No one got in trouble. No one got demoted. No one even got so much as a letter of reprimand. They all looked around and said, oh well, that is a stunning fall for a nation.
Yeah, the lack of accountability certainly adds to the disgrace. But, Afghanistan's going on as we speak. As a veteran, you understand that there's 20,000 commandos, Afghans, that we trained, that we equipped, that frankly have a dilemma. They can either be hunted and killed with their families, or they can flip to the Taliban. So, Jesse, this is not just a humanitarian issue, which is a disaster. It's not just a moral issue, which speaks to the soul of our country, but it's a national security issue. There's been no policy to get those folks out. In fact, the State Department seems to be undercutting them at every step. And frankly, look at the results of Afghanistan. It reflects itself in everything. Putin, Xi, Iran. I think, sadly, the worst is just to come.
John, China has sadly moved right in as well, and this is another crazy state of affairs that we pulled out, and China just dove on this, and now our number one enemy has seized the most important air base in the world, and they're getting ready to start extracting valuable resources from the Taliban, and we just look useless.
It's a great moral shame. It's, the embarrassment is one thing. The lack of accountability is one thing. But the consequences, I think, are going to be generational. At the end of the video, I interviewed former Vice President Saleh because I wanted an Afghan to have the last word of my video. And he said something that strikes me to this day. He says that Afghanistan is like a mirror that we're holding up to ourselves. And I think it is telling us a lot about ourselves. Who are we as a nation? Are we Normandy? Are we the folks that brought down the Berlin Wall? Or are we the people that leave our allies to terrorists? Do we care about women's rights? This is the greatest women's rights decimation of our lifetimes. Where are all those folks that claim to speak for women's rights? Gay and lesbians are being hunted and murdered by the Taliban. Where are all the folks that spoke to speech talk us about gay rights and get on their moral platitudes and lecture to us? It's showing us that a lot of America is a hypocritical act. But you know what? Thank God there are some folks keeping the promise, showing us what America's all about. And I salute them, and I want to tell their stories.
I actually want to play a little bit of that video that you just described, you with the vice president here.
How do you feel about America now?
America not only has lied to the Afghan people, it's lying to itself. I mean, the betrayal is not the collapse of a system only. The betrayal is about fate of millions of people. I mean, who is going to take the words of this administration and probably the future administration seriously? Who?
John, I feel like this loss of American credibility, I feel like it happens so fast. Don't you feel like for most of your life, I certainly do, that we were that rock solid thing? Not perfect, certainly never perfect, but we were that solid thing you can count on. America will be there. America stands by its allies. And I feel like just in recent years, man, we have managed to ruin what we've been building since our founding.
The reason I chose Vice President Saleh is because a year ago, I heard him in an interview speaking to the critical importance of America as a shining light, as a country with values, as a country with compassion, leading the world for everything we love, freedom, compassion, human rights, all these things that we think of as America. And I wanted to hear his viewpoint after we abandoned his country. And I agree with you. It seems like we just fell off the cliff. I hope that this is a blip, but the culture war, I'm not sure how that's going to end. I think we all have to stand up, fight for what we believe in, fight for what makes America great. Certainly understanding we have a lot of things to improve on, but America is the best thing that's ever happened to this planet. And if we lose that mentality, I think everyone's going to suffer. And I think Afghanistan certainly shows us that mirror, and it's not a pretty sight. I think it's probably pretty broken at this point.
Amen. John, thank you so much for what you do, man. Keep on keeping on.
Thanks, Jesse. Always a pleasure, buddy.
We have Light in the Mood next. But first, we did a special last week on Kamala Harris. But there's a catch to it. This special, like my George Soros special and others, you got to become a First TV supporter to watch. You got to go to thefirstTV.com/support and sign up, and then you can watch it. And there's better news too, though. You get to watch them as many times as you want. You get to watch them on demand. All of our specials, every special on the First, on demand. Go to thefirstTV.com/support. We'll be back with Light in the Mood. Every once in a while, there's video perfection out there on the internet. And as we go into Light in the Mood, I just have to say, I want to end the show once again on a positive note here. There's a lot to feel bad about in this world. And one of those things is social media. You'll see people complain about social media all the time. Old people, young people, social media is poison, social media is bad, social media is... I get all that. Some of it's right. Some of that's correct. Certainly can be used for terrible things. But social media is a window into more talent and talented people and funny people than you've ever had before, than anyone's ever had before. This is I think it's like a 15-second video. It's pants-sweating funny because it's true. I'd never know this guy existed even 10 years ago, and neither would you. But this is freaking hilarious. I honestly think my favorite part is the 90s one where he hits the door and he does the eyes thing. It's so true. All right. I'll see you tomorrow.